So education is a passport for the future, for a better tomorrow, but it is for a passport for the future for those who prepare for it today. So preparing for today is very, very important, especially when it comes to education. Education is very important for the development of demographic dividend of our country. So एक तरह से हमको ये भी जानना ज़रूरी है कि जिस टाइप का एजुकेशन हमको मिल रहा है, जिस क्वालिटी का एजुकेशन मिल रहा है एट ऑल द 3 levels, दैट इज़ प्राइमरी स्कूलिंग एजुकेशन, कॉलेज, पोस्ट graduation, and of course skill development, it is very important to assess it. Assessment is a part and assessment is indispensable. Assessment is indispensable to know in which direction is the future of our country going. What are the leading institutes, because these leading institutes, they decide the future of the demographic dividend. They decide the future of the demographic dividend, their employability, their usefulness in the world of tomorrow, a world that is awaiting automation, a world that is abound with 4th industrial revolution technologies, a world that requires more skill-based people and more industrious people than the more educated. So on the basis of that, we have to measure certain parameters and aspects related to education, which is one of the key investments of in human capital of any country. There are various rankings on global and national level as well that assess the quality of education. Now, after going through schooling and college, higher education institutions को rank करना भी बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी हो जाता है, and we have already come across many important rankings that already exist in the system, especially on a global level, very reputation oriented rankings that already are there. QS global ranking systems or the Time higher education ranking systems. These are the 2 most prominent ranking systems. Now, on a parallel, many countries have launched their own ranking system for important eminent educational institutes like the Shanghai rankings in China and National Institute of Ranking in India. That was launched in the year 2015 by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, now known as the Ministry of Education. So let's have a look. Abhi recently 15th of July 2022 को India Rankings 2022 was published. On the basis of all the results, India Ranking 2022 is actually based out of all the result and the actual outcome of the National Institute of Ranking Framework of India 2022. So let's have a look at, you can see all the engineering and important institutes that back the top positions when it comes to institute rankings. So as usual, IIT Madras has again topped the first position. So let's have a look what it is. Why was it introduced in the first place? What all other rankings do we have in our country? Not only the government institutes, but many NGOs like Pratham NGO publishes ACER ranking report. UDICE ranking reports is also published by Ministry of Education in partnership with private organizations and NGO. Other than that, Performance Development Index, PGI district-based index that assess the level of schooling in, across various districts in our country. So let's have a look. See, India released the ranking on 15th of July, and these were the many industries that acquired Indian Institute of Science and Bangalore. As always, it has had a reputation of being the most top-ranked institute, even in the Times Higher Education ranking. It is also one of the top 200 institutes, Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. Okay, and then Jawaharlal Nehru University, JMI, Amrit Vishwa Vidyapeetham. So these are rankings based on various parameters and subject matters. Okay. Colleges that are covered, colleges means the subject matters that are covered in these rankings. These are a set of law, engineering, management, pharmacy, medical, architecture colleges. These are ranked on various parameters. Let's have a look at what the parameters that are covered are. We are talking about National Institute of Ranking Framework. Okay, so let's have a look at the basics first, and then let's discuss some implications and some perceptions related to it, right? So the parameters, 5 or 4 set of parameters right? Teaching and resources, these are two very important parameters, are the outreach, inclusivity and perception, research and professional practice. So these are some of the key parameters on the basis of which for the last 7 years National Institute of Ranking frameworks have been ranking higher educational institutes in our country. Now the question is why? Why did the government introduce in 2015 an NIRF system when already global parameters and rankings that assess Indian institutes on par with so many global institutes across the world? See, countries like China, they also have their own ranking systems, like the Shanghai rankings. I've already told you that, and in that aspect also a strong and a stable, a more reliable ranking system was missing from our country. See, it was more scattered. Why? Because NAAC rankings, AICTE rankings and certifications, National Accreditation Bureau, all these rankings were there, but they were more scattered, they were not unified, they were very, very confusing. So this time it has been decided to integrate them all into NIRF ranking system. Okay. Now why? See, major rankings like QS ranking system 2022, if you see the results of 2022 QS ranking system, it is an annual publication. It is the world's biggest educational ranking system in the world, and according to the QS ranking system, no Indian institute have progressed by any single point. कोई भी इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट में कोई प्रोग्रेस नहीं आया है. जो पुरानी रैंकिंग थी वही अभी भी उन इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट्स की सेम रैंकिंग है फॉर द लास्ट 5 years. For the last 5 years, no Indian institute has achieved any progress on the QS parameters. So one allegation is that let me walk you through some of the ambiguities that are important, that add a subjectivity to the methodology. They make us question about on the basis of what methodology are the QS ranking and time higher education, even though the performance of Indian institutes have improved on certain other parameters. None of the Indian institute in QS ranking system have bagged a rank above 250. Top 250 में कोई भी Indian institute नहीं. They are only in top 500, 600 and 700 institutes. So basic drawback क्या है? It is very, very subjective. It does not consider the ground causes. So for example, a performance on teacher to student ratio, the performance of teaching, the quality of teaching and teacher to student ratio, it actually shows a decline. It actually shows a decline in the actual QS ranking. But the fact is that the government is providing a lot of facilities to the students, like economically weaker students, reserved category students. The number of admissions in higher education institutes is on the rise, and because of that the teacher student ratio is very much skewed or disturbed. There are large number of students per teacher than before, and because of that, on the basis of that, they are judging that the performance and the quality of our teachers in higher education institutes is not up to the mark. Now, is that a fair assessment? Would you call that a fair assessment? So that is one drawback. Number two, they do not accurately, they are more perception based. Now these QS ranking, these are more perception based. These are more perception based, and this perception based ranking, it means what? Their perception is driven commercially, right? कमर्शियल रेपुटेशन के बेसिस पे, कमर्शियल रेपुटेशन में क्या परसेप्शन है किसी भी इंस्टीट्यूट का, these rankings are driven by that. Now these rankings are driven by that. If you look at the parameters, 40% weightage is assigned to academic reputation alone. That is in the academic industry, in the academic world. What is, say, Harvard University? Now maybe there is a course in Harvard University that is not that great, that is not up to the mark at all. Any other Indian institute on par will teach that particular course better than the teachers at Harvard, but it will still rank Harvard University College better than Indian institutes. Why? Because in the academic world, the perception and the tagline of Harvard University is way higher, and the weightage that is assigned to that is actually 40%. So that is quite significant. Employer reputation, what kind of employees they come to the colleges for placement and all that. So for example, IMA big employers like Deloitte and S&P institutes, they all come to place the students. Even more professional employers, big names. So basically, to what extent the institute is able to attract a big name. So I think that is a valid point. That is a valid point, but that employer attraction or the employer reputation is assigned only 10% marks. Right? Only 10% weightage is assigned to employer reputation category, but on the contrary, this factor should be a deciding factor, because if an educational institute is able to attract top-notch employers from across the world and the country, then the weightage that is assigned to that in that respect comparatively is very, very less. Faculty-student ratio, again, that is skewed to 20%, but again, faculty-student ratio, why is it improving? Why is it, decreasing? It is because of the government initiatives to provide for reservation and other practices. International faculty ratio and international student ratio. So the global outreach of a particular institute is a deciding factor. So again, weightage to that is assigned at 5% each. So these are some parameters. That are used by QS ranking and Times Higher Education and World Ranking. But these are more commercially driven parameters. These are more commercially driven. They do not assess the ground level implementation of education policies in the country. Okay, now let's talk about the performance in the QS ranking. So as I told you before, yes, the Indian universities, they improved on certain parameters, but this time, since the last 5 years, despite all the government initiatives like the Institute of Eminence initiative, one of the most landmark initiatives, despite that, no Indian university managed to bag a first rank or to manage to bag a rank in the top 250 category. Now this, I believe it is very, very skewed, because we have we have reputed institutes like IISc Bangalore. So I think that is somewhat manipulated and biased and more reputation oriented. Now let's talk about NIRF. Now we have, you can see QS ranking mein IIT Bombay, again the same set of universities are being ranked. Okay, now let's talk about NIRF. NIRF की अगर बात करी जाए तो 7,000, a total of 7,000 institutes were ranked in NIRF category. Okay, and overall IIT Madras, as you can see it from the very first image, IIT Madras has bagged the first rank. Other than that, universities mein IISc Bangalore has bagged the first rank when it comes to universities category. Okay, engineering mein again IIT Madras, management IIM Ahmedabad, medical, so all the top-notch institutes that are usually publicized, are usually admired. NAAC की ranking उनकी अच्छी रही है अब तक, so they are also getting the first rank. So yes, some uniformity is there, some stability is there. Okay, so yes, this is the basic reason why India has launched its own ranking system, number one. And also, let's have a look at some of the important initiatives taken up. Let us have a look at the important initiatives taken up by the ranking in India. So ranking, India ne ranking important performance grading index again Ministry of Education publish करता है. Ministry of Education publish करता है district level पे, and this is basically meant for schools. This is basically meant for school, not higher education system, but this is just an example. NIRF, we already know about it. Institute of Eminence scheme. Now, Institute of Eminence scheme aims to provide autonomy to very important institutes, autonomy in the form of syllabus, course curricula, everything. Okay, school education index that is published by the Niti Aayog. So likewise at various levels of education, the government of India already publishes a lot of important rankings that give us a picture that where the entire education system is moving towards. So that is one aspect towards it. Now let us just end the session. I just wanted to introduce you. I just wanted to share a perception on why NIRF ranking are, because they were recently released. So we also need to know why they were released. Again, on number 2, we can see an MCQ. कौन से parameters इसमें count होते हैं या नहीं होते हैं? Teaching, learning and resources. We just saw the mind map and diagram. So I think you should be able to answer this question correctly. So do write the answer. कौन सा इसका correct option होगा? You have to choose from among which of the given parameters कौन से NIRF 2022 के ranking में included होते हैं और कौन से नहीं है. So on the basis of that, you have to mark the correct choice. Okay, so this was it for today's session. But I hope it was insightful. Right, so the government of India is already, you all know, the government of India is taking a lot of initiatives in various sectors, various schemes that aim to invite scientists who have gone abroad. You know, we have important scientists and scientific community that is abroad, settled in other countries. You know, they account for a large chunk of brain drain from India. The schemes are in place to bring them back and work with our country, to work with our colleges and professors, right, to integrate and encourage more international students to come to India and join our reputed institutions. So yes, we are definitely moving ahead and moving forward with our own set of rankings in place. So this was it for the session for today. I hope it was insightful. Thank you so much for watching. Signing off. Until next time. Bye-bye.